a new proposal to redesign Penn Station would move Madison Square Garden across 7th Avenue and rebuild the train hub with a new park and entrances. The plan is backed by a wealthy Republican donor with ties to President Trump.
They're pitching an idea that would completely change the block where Madison Square Garden sits. So imagine a brand new arena across 7th Avenue and a new public park to replace that existing arena. And this plan is backed by a group that believes we need to, quote, make America beautiful again. It's interesting because of its ties to President Trump.
You wrote that this design directly appeals to Trump's taste. What do you mean by that?
The design is filled with Greco-Roman columns and arches. It's similar to many of the buildings you might see in Washington, D.C. Trump actually calls this, quote, traditional design, and he's a big fan of that. So he signed an executive order in January, and actually a very similar one during his first term, that's trying to force all federal buildings to honor, quote, classical architectural heritage.
This sort of opinion, I mean, don't tell Adrian Brody, but this sort of opinion is born out of this reaction over the past few decades to the brutalist architecture movement. Brutalist architecture uses sturdy, cheap materials like concrete in kind of bold ways that fly in the face of these Greco-Roman standards. New Yorkers might be familiar with it. You go up to Albany and look at the Albany Renaissance and the Empire State Plaza. And these designs are polarizing, especially for people with these traditional historical views of architecture. And Trump's one of them.